Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to talk about the repercussions and aftershocks when it comes to sexual assault, and I am creating this video so I can help others who have suffered and faced the same situation before, during, and after me, because we all know that it has always existed. Why? Because human beings, some are just not kind. And unfortunately, you never know sometimes until it's too late. So I'm going to go back to the time that I suffered at the hands of another individual, and I have never received an apology. Despite the fact that I was in a courtroom with my assailant, he has never admitted to wrongdoing. And so the one thing I have to let you know is, in most cases, when it comes to rape, um, anything along those lines, sometimes an apology will never come, and you will never get a reason behind why someone chose to harm you. It's just the way it is. And so I want to tell you the aftershocks of what happens. And I'm going to talk about my case. I can't speak of everyone else, but I was raped while serving in the military. It was at an apartment off base by a soldier that was in the same unit as myself. He had sent my fiance away to check on his then girlfriend, who was an adult entertainer at the club, and I just decided to go to sleep. And shortly after that, he came in, and that was when my assault took place. I was raped and sodomized. Um, he had used his wife's dildo, and so and that's along the lines. I'm trying to not get too incredibly graphic. But the assault took place while his infant son was asleep in the next room. And so I said no. Um, I, 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 it was clear that this was not something that I wanted. I had not looked at him that way. I had never been open to him romantically. I never knew him in that way, manner, etc. And so my lines were very clear. Um, and so, anyways, after it was all said and done, I turned over and I just prayed when my fiance came back that he would not also initiate, because I had just been brutally assaulted and I didn't know what to do. And so we left the next day. My fiance and I went back to the barracks where we lived. And I said, I'll deal with it later. And I'll tell you, what I went through after was, I lived in fear. I would check my doors 3 or 4 times before I went to sleep because I was afraid someone was going to come in and attack me. Consistently looking over my shoulder, having panic attacks and anxiety, having nightmares that it was happening again. Um, I mean, there was so many things. I can't even think of it. Oh, if I was walking into the VA, or I was in a parking lot, some guy was walking, I'd stop dead in my tracks and check my phone, because I have to always keep eyes on people around me that I don't know. I'm always checking my surroundings. My friends are always saying, oh, you're always looking around. And well, that's probably why. And so I lived in fear, shame and degradation, guilt. I couldn't tell anyone because I didn't want to lay my burdens on my family. But I think the worst part, because I didn't get therapy and I didn't get help and I didn't reach out, because back then the military didn't really recognize military sexual trauma, harassment. I had reported harassment, but they hadn't done anything about it, so I knew kind of they wouldn't take it seriously. Um, so after that, my self-esteem, being in the garbage can, was so low that I married someone who went on to treat me with such disdain and such disrespect, calling me every name in the book, basically saying I was the whore, slut, a bitch, that no one would ever want me. Um, it was tough. It was it was, yeah, it was, I can't say it was tough. It was excruciating at times. And so I think what people fail to realize is when someone's raped, you steal every single part of their innocence, of their mental health, of their emotional health, of their well being, of their security and safety. Their innocence is just gone. Um, and so it doesn't just stop at the act. And even if someone gets locked up, fortunately, my assailant did serve time in prison for a subsequent rape. So I have some sort of justification when it comes to that. But he's never served time for mine. Um, and that's the way it is. And like I said, he's never apologized. So life marches on. But just know, I feel anyone that has been in this situation has to talk to someone. It's really, really important. And take care of yourself. And that's all I've got. I'll be back.